imagine waking up to the sound of air raid sirens for the third day in a row. Now imagine that silence being shattered by the deafening roar of explosions, not in some distant battlefield, but right in your neighborhood, your city. What happens when the world's attention seems to shift, but the bombs keep falling? Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow. We're talking about Ukraine, specifically Kyiv, where Russia has launched a devastating, 3-day barrage of drone and missile attacks. The latest, and perhaps most horrific, strike occurred on Thursday, obliterating an apartment building in the heart of the capital. Authorities have confirmed a grim toll, 9 people killed, their lives extinguished in an instant, with dozens more injured, pulled from the wreckage or still awaiting rescue. And it wasn't just Kyiv. Across Ukraine, more strikes wounded over 24 civilians as dawn broke on what should have been a clear, peaceful day. This isn't a new development, of course. We've seen this pattern of Russian aggression before, but the sheer sustained intensity of these past 3 days is what demands our attention. Russia has been employing a strategy of overwhelming aerial assault, seemingly aiming to paralyze Ukraine's infrastructure and demoralize its population. But the targeting of residential areas, the flattening of apartment blocks, raises critical questions about the nature of this conflict and the alleged intentions behind it. Is this a desperate attempt to break Ukraine's will to fight, or a calculated move to inflict maximum civilian casualties? The impact on the ground is, as we've seen time and again, catastrophic. Families are torn apart, homes are reduced to rubble, and the psychological toll on the Ukrainian people must be immense. They are living under a constant threat, their lives held hostage by the whims of an aggressor. The international community has condemned these attacks, but the question remains, what more can be done? From a U.S. political perspective, this ongoing aggression in Ukraine inevitably shapes our foreign policy debates. It underscores the importance of alliances, the need for robust defense spending, and the moral imperative to support democracies under threat. Debates rage in Washington about the level of aid, the types of weapons to be supplied, and the strategic goals of our involvement. Some argue for unwavering support, seeing Ukraine as a bulwark against authoritarian expansion. Others express concern about escalation and the potential for direct confrontation with Russia. This latest wave of attacks could very well reignite these discussions. If civilian casualties continue to mount, and if residential areas are consistently targeted, it will put increased pressure on Western leaders to respond more forcefully. What constitutes a red line? What level of destruction is too much to bear witness to? These are not easy questions, and the answers will have profound implications for global security. We also need to consider the potential for unintended consequences. A more aggressive response could, as some fear, lead to a dangerous escalation, drawing NATO directly into a conflict with a nuclear-armed power. Conversely, inaction could be interpreted as weakness, emboldening Russia and other authoritarian regimes. The tightrope walk for policymakers is incredibly delicate. Furthermore, these events have a direct impact on the global economy. Disrupted supply chains, volatile energy markets, and the ongoing humanitarian crisis all have ripple effects that are felt far beyond the borders of Ukraine. And let's not forget the information war that accompanies the physical one. Propaganda, disinformation, and cyberattacks are all part of this complex geopolitical struggle, and navigating this landscape requires a discerning and informed citizenry. The sheer brutality of these attacks, the images of shattered lives and ruined buildings, should serve as a stark reminder of what is at stake. This is not just a conflict between two nations, it is a test of democratic values, of international law, and of our collective ability to uphold peace and security in the 21st century. The decisions made in Washington, in Brussels, and in Moscow in the coming days and weeks will shape the course of history. So what do you think about this? Is this a turning point, or just another tragic chapter in an ongoing war? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. The world is watching. The situation in Ukraine remains dire, and the coming days will undoubtedly bring further developments. We will continue to monitor these events closely, providing you with the analysis and context you need to understand what's happening and why it matters. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let your voice be heard.